Welcome back.
Boom, boom, boom.
Another episode of Buying a House in Japan. I'm your host, Joey Stockermans, and joined with my co-host, Take.
Hey, thanks for the coffee beans from Glitch, Joey. These coffee beans are lit. Like, they're so good. What kind of
Wow.
bean? Yeah, it's like, is this coffee or is this juice?
Glitch, my brother told me about Glitch. I don't know how he knew about it, but it's this coffee shop in Ginza, and the beans are crazy. Like they have, it says like bubblegum, strawberry. And you know how many different coffee brands, they'll rate all these different flavor profiles in the beans. This is the first time I smelt it. Like I smelt bubblegum, I smelt strawberry, like cantaloupe, like everything they put on it, all very kind of fruity flavors. And it comes out in the flavor as well.
Did you get me? Okay. This smells like strawberry. The whatever beans you got me, like Columbia or something. Do you remember the? Wow. How do they do this? I don't understand.
I don't know. Pretty good. Anybody traveling to Tokyo, check out Glitch in Ginza. It was nice. Free Wi-Fi too.
Okay.
There's also a good Maguro Don spot somewhere nearby, across the street or something.
How much were these beans? Like it was like maybe like 50 grams or something like that.
So it's a tiny bag, right? It's maybe 4 or 5 cups worth.
Yep.
Worth of beans. It was like, I want to say 4,000 yen.
Okay.
A bag.
Kind of good gift though. Good like novelty. Like this is such a different coffee bean than I've ever had before. So thanks for the present. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. I like, if I had to guess, it's kind of like, you know, if you go to a coffee shop and you go to an expensive coffee shop and it's like $9 for a cup of coffee. This is a make it at home coffee, but it's $9 making it at home.
Yeah. But all right, Joey, I got some hot topics for you today. We want to talk a little bit about AkiyaMart upgrades. I think we've had a lot of folks reach out and being like, hey, can we get this filter and this filter and this feature? So wanted to just get ahead of it and address some of the big things we're working on. As a reminder, we are a 2-person team and Joey is the only technical person on the team. So Joey, thank you, Otsukare, for building the site from scratch and handling all these technical troubleshooting things people have been asking.
One-man army.
One man.
It's actually completely different for any software engineers listening. It's completely different writing code for yourself versus writing it at a company. Even the boring parts are way less boring. And even the on-call aspect of it is, you know, it doesn't feel like on-call work. It feels more like, I don't know, gardening or something like that. You have a pest in your garden and you need to deal with it.
Did we ever figure out what happened to the mole in our in Tokyo Tama base camp?
I don't know if that's a mole. I mean,
what? What is it?
The turd was too big for him. The turd itself was the size of a mole. I think I have no idea. I think this is what I think. I think there is a mole, and I think that was a cat turd.
Okay. That's hella funny. But all right, so a couple features we have coming on. Again, just for anyone listening, Joey made the site back in last May. Is that right? It's like a
May
prototype for ourselves.
Yeah, it was the first commit to the repo.
Yep, and we officially launched it in January. So it's really been about 8 to 9 months of us being live. And again, there's like a bajillion things we want to build, but with limited resources. So we're stack ranking a couple things. From a business perspective, this is, our livelihood a little bit. We're trying to make this a business. So trying to optimize a little bit for a little bit of like what's going to help us keep afloat, but also what provides the most utility. So I think at the very top of it, Joey, we did a big SEO project. Talk to me a little bit about SEO.
I was just going to mention that probably users of the website have noticed that there hasn't been many changes in the past 2 or 3 months. Most of that one was I was in Tokyo dealing with a lot of sort of admin related stuff, but also I was focused on SEO work. So stuff that goes on behind the scenes in a business that users of a website don't ever notice or ever come across. So that's really building out specific pages on the website that Google bots and other search engine bots love and are easy for them to read the data on and categorize so that you can rank higher in a Google search. So things we're working on, we're building pages to rank high if someone were to search for Akiya Nagoya or Akiya Shimoda or Atami or something like that.
Yep. So we were finding that if we were to search Akiya, we were typically on page 2. Now, at time of recording, Joey, congratulations, we are on spot number 2. Pretty good.
Yay.
We're
Uh, Yeah, it's really SEO is interesting, right? So users of the website, they'll never see these pages. They probably maybe they have it bookmarked or they type in AkiyaMart in the search bar of Google Chrome and it pops right up. But it's really building a set of pages for robots is the work. So I apologize to people. I was busy building pages for robots, not for our actual human users over the past 2 or 3 months. But that's where the
it's
bulk
okay.
of the time spent was.
Totally. And shout out to my buddy who I used to skate with, Brian Randy Ta, who's been doing a little consultation work for us. He's been a wizard and has set us on the right path. And he's motivated us that we can compete with the big boys, right, Joey?
Yeah, yeah. I think that he did seem to mention that even some of the big boys don't do proper SEO. Like, I don't think these Japanese real estate websites are doing proper SEO either. So, and it really takes a large restructuring of your pages. Just to get a tiny bit technical for 1 second, you need to start doing a lot of server side rendering. It's basically just a way of getting the information to the bot faster, and the Google bots like getting the information faster instead of slower. So
Yep.
yeah, I do think that you can, if you're a smaller company and you take in some core principle SEO strategies, I do also agree that I think you can take on the big dogs because they're likely too big and it'll take too much time and money and manpower to change their website to something like server side rendering, for example. So smaller, scrappier, you can do it.
Next up, I think this is a hot feature that I've been wanting and asking Joey a lot about. On Zillow, you typically see previously sold. I think that helps users understand like how much did this house here sell for? I'm buying the house next to it. I want to figure out those comps. So challenging thing in Japan is they don't track sales data. So there's not like one unified place like there is MLS in the United States where you can see how much that house next to you sold for. So we're doing something a little bit different. I know Joey's been collecting the data, but Joey, you want to talk a little bit about CDN actually specifically on us storing images too?
Yep. So Tuck is right. Excuse me. There's no central database for us to figure out the price that a property sold at. We're looking into it. There's a few kind of random websites here and there, but I believe that it's like the standard way Japanese websites give users the data, which is in PDF format, like a non-parsable PDF format. So there's difficulties in getting that information and it might not even exist. We're still trying to figure out if that is possible or not. But yeah, so on the one hand, we can't track when a property was sold using some sort of source of truth. So we do the best we can. What does that mean? Our scrapers, they look to see when a listing is no longer up. So what we do is we ping all these listings every day, and if we get the website back, the listing page back, we know that it's up, and we can parse the information that's on the web page. But Japanese websites, they take the listings down when something sells, and that's part of the nature of their business, is that real estate agents pay these Japanese websites to list on them. So as soon as they stop paying, At Home, Sumo, etc., these other websites, they'll take the listing down. So that's how we know when something was sold or not. It's a best guess, but when we get 404 back for a specific listing, we make the assumption that it was sold. But one of the implications of this business model that these Japanese websites run, where they take the listing down when something's sold, is they also delete the images that they've stored for that listing as well. So their images are stored somewhere out in the cloud kind of thing, and it appears that they delete those images when the listing is taken down. So when we hot link to those images for listings that have had their original Japanese listing taken down, those image links, those hot links, no longer resolve into an actual image. So we've been trying to figure out a way to solve this so that if you were to look at a historical listing on AkiyaMart, you can still see the images. The grand idea would be to be able to search through properties that actually were sold and see all the data and all the images for historical listings as well. So that's kind of the problem. And yeah, we've been going about it. And mainly, we've just started storing the images ourselves. So that's the main way of doing it. I've never done this kind of thing before, so it has been a learning experience for me. And going about it slowly, storing a lot of images costs more and more money the more you store. So trying to go
strategic.
Strategic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, if you're looking at an AkiyaMart listing and just know it's going to be sold, this has happened to us actually for both our Beppu property and our Tokyo property. The property gets delisted and I'm sad I forget to save the images. So if you're looking at a property right now, like save the images, they will be gone. I know a couple folks that we're helping through the process right now. I'm going to tell them the same thing because I kind of miss looking at the listing. I've looked at it like 100 times and then it's gone. Like, oh man, so store those listings, but hopefully soon we'll have those images saved. But it's a shit ton of images, right?
Yeah, I would say in about 3 months, again, going about this slow, it is a lot of images. I would expect in about 3 months' time, you can be pretty safe that we would have stored the images. But for now, if there is a listing you really want to keep the images of, yeah, store them yourself.
Yeah, and these saved, images and previously sold, we hope that this actually segues into our next improvement. We are looking at doing it something similar to a Zestimate. Again, we don't have the sales data that we have, let's say, here in the States, but using our methodology, if the last price it was listed at, we assume it was sold. I think over time, this will give us a lot of really clean, structured data on like giving estimates of like, hey, a couple houses in this area of the same size sold at this price. I think over time, this will help build that model. We actually have two of Joey's University of Cambridge PhD data science friends maybe helping us out here. Joey, anything on this one?
Yeah, well, so it was a segue from the images, but we don't actually need the images
Yep.
build something like a Zestimate. So we do keep all historical data. It's just been the images that we've been hot linking to and not storing ourselves. So that was the issue. But yeah, definitely building some sort of Zestimate model or, getting a little bit more sophisticated with our data analysis. So a Zestimate model would be the ability to get a price estimate for any given address in Japan. Some other kind of data sciencey type projects would be something like finding similar properties, so finding comps. Here's a property, you go to a listing and maybe it can recommend you other properties that are very similar to that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think those are some big things to chew off, but I do feel like it will disrupt the Japanese real estate space once we get them. Joey, moving on now. Next feature that I know you've been working on, something I've been requesting for, is zoning maps or hazard maps. What's that looking like?
I found the gold mine here. There's
Nice.
Japanese government website that has a ton of very accurate maps stored in it's not GeoJSON, but it's some map format that can be converted into GeoJSON, and it's ultimately a GeoJSON file that we use to show different polygons and stuff on our map. They have so many different things. They've got hazard maps, they've got zoning maps. Zoning is important for Airbnb, even though there's more that goes into it than just zoning. But yeah, zoning is important for Airbnb. Hazard maps. What? I wish I remember. I haven't looked at this in a while, but
Yeah, like landslide,
forest, yeah, landslide,
agricultural land. So I think these maps,
schools.
I know you got schools. Interesting.
Yeah, like they would have a map with a location of every middle school in Japan, and you could be like, okay, well, I want a house within, 1 mile of a middle school or something like that, because my kids are that age.
Okay. Yeah, this is I think you had a beta. I remember you had a little bit out, but this is huge. I think if from a map-based perspective, it's really, really hard right now on Japanese real estate sites to know the zoning. You'd have to click into the listing and look up the zoning, maybe even call up the city office. With this like map overlay of what we're thinking, it becomes a lot easier of like, hey, let's find everything in commercial zoning that can get a hotel license or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a central government website too. So I don't think that if you call your local shiakusho city hall, I don't think that they have anything more accurate than this website either. So this was a little bit of a gold mine.
Okay, so zoning maps, I think this is going to be a big one that will change the functionality and kind of help us level up. But there's also a lot of small things. I think we get a lot of feature requests, Joey. I'm just going to rapid fire them to you. I think one of the top ones we get is like notifications. So if I'm looking in a specific area and want to draw like a little map and get notifications there, I'm curious, how big of a t-shirt size project is that, Joey?
Yeah, I actually started this one. So this one, someone else reached out to me on LinkedIn recently. Someone that I met at Dev conference in Shibuya a month and a half ago. He again got a request for this exact feature. This is something that ourselves we've wanted. Yeah, there's two parts to it. There's the ability to save a search and then save a specific set of filters, region of the map, and then within this price range, within this, etc. And then the ability to get notifications, an email sent to you when something new pops up that meets that set of filters. There's one tricky part. I'm not going to go into the details. It's specific to how our map is set up in our code base, but there's one tricky aspect. Other than that, I don't see this as being that complicated. So I would actually give this a medium t-shirt size.
Medium. Okay. We've also, another small thing, maybe a large thing. We know that our subscription cancel kind of process is a little clunky. So anyone listening on like, how do I cancel? Thank you for using AkiyaMart Pro, but if you do want to cancel, it's very easy. You go up to accounts, subscription, and cancel. Joey and I wake up every morning with, hey, like these people in like all capital letters, cancel my account now. And we're like, oh my gosh. I don't love the customer service, but we know we're going to try to make it a little bit more intuitive on how to look at your subscription and things like that. But for now, if you are looking to cancel, first off, send us some feedback, but also it's very easy. Go up to account, subscriptions, and cancel. And no, it will cancel immediately. Again, something we're trying to figure out. I don't know, Joey, what are your thoughts here?
Spicy. On the how it cancels, you immediately lose access to AkiyaMart Pro features.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is that an easy fix?
A little tricky. So the issue is that when someone cancels, maybe this just comes down to me. I need to learn a little bit more about Stripe. So we use Stripe to handle billing and some aspects of subscription management. And really the tricky issue with Stripe is keeping your database and whatever Stripe believes. Stripe's API is the source of truth, and the database needs to keep up with that. And that's the tricky part, keeping your database and Stripe's database in line. And so one aspect here is when someone cancels their subscription, you're telling Stripe that their subscription is canceled. So then we have some automatic webhooks that hook into the Stripe API. And when there's a change to one of our customers' subscription, Stripe will ping our webhook and essentially hit a specific endpoint that will cancel that person's subscription in our database. So that's all fine and good. Those two are aligned. But then what we're saying is we need to give someone access to the end of their billing period. So there's that other aspect there where there's a little bit of a discrepancy between what Stripe is saying, what our database is saying, and then the actual access that we're giving the user. So potentially one way of doing this is storing when their billing period ends and then keep giving them access until that period. And maybe there's a few different ways. It'll take, I guess one of the reasons why I haven't done this is that every software developer hates reading documentation, and this is going to require me to go through the Stripe documentation and start trying to figure out. I'm sure someone else has had this issue. I'm sure there's a way to solve it. It's just been low priority at the moment. So I just put a big disclaimer up.
No worries. And I didn't understand anything you said there, Joey. But if anyone of our 100 True fans knows how to solve this, please let us know. We've had a couple great people reach out to us with offering to help, and we appreciate them. We actually had one person reach out with a small feature request that Joey actually implemented overnight. So when you now are in the list view of AkiyaMart with the map, when you hover over places, you'll see which dot it's associated to. Shout out to Andrew for that one. But yeah, I think that hear you on the subscriptions, and anyone knows anyone hearing this, it's not as easy as it.
Sorry guys, I mean it's more of a really boring task ahead of me. So, and I thought that the disclaimer would whatever. Maybe I'm being lazy too. Anyways, Take, what feature do you want absolutely the most? What's top? If you were the king of AkiyaMart, what would you build first?
King of AkiyaMart. Okay. I would say, honestly, the previously sold is a really big one. I think we have so much data, and again, we can't go back previously to when we started, but let's say 10 years from now, being able to look back on like what something was sold for Just being able to see our old house being sold at this price, or being able to see what other people have sold for nearby, I think is a really interesting data set, especially for active people. Like for now, if we wanted to buy something in Beppu and we saw neighbor's house sold for $20,000, that would give us a baseline. Plus, being able to see photos, I think, seeing cool properties go off market kind of hurts. We had a couple cool properties in like Miyazaki that we can't look at the listing anymore. We lost those photos. So that's my Take's top feature. Joey, flipping it on to you. What would be, if you were to snap your fingers right now, what would be number one feature you would want just done?
I would love the ability to, I don't know how this would actually work. Let's just say magically that all the properties on AkiyaMart were somehow categorized like into castle-like properties or beachfront properties or properties next to a river, or fun categories. It doesn't have to be every single category on the planet, but I don't know, 30 fun categories. I think I would like onsen properties with onsen water. I don't know exactly how to do this, but I think that's a fun way to search.
We talked about that, right? There's like a way to search the text. So if we put hot spring, in a search bar and pull up everyone with a listing with hot spring, how
Keyword
doable
search.
Keyword search.
Yeah, that's doable. It's again something that I don't have. There's a way to do that kind of lookup quickly. I don't have experience in it, but again, I'm sure there's a YouTube video I can follow. Well, here's another idea that I had. This kind of goes back to 2017. I had this idea way back, like when crypto or Ethereum first became a thing in the crypto world. I had this idea so I was working for SoundCloud at the time, and one of the issues SoundCloud has is that they don't know who the rights holders to a lot of tracks. So tracks that people upload, because anyone can upload a track to SoundCloud. It doesn't go through like a more rigorous process like Spotify. So they wanted to figure out who owns the rights to all these different pieces of music that had been uploaded. And I had this idea that, well, what if you built this kind of web app, kind of like Spotify or SoundCloud, where people upload music and then you get users to categorize the music. So they answer one specific question about that piece of music. So the question would be like, name one artist on this track, or name the rights. And basically you're outsourcing to humans. So maybe they have to Google the question, or now you could use ChatGPT or whatever, right? Basically you get humans to crowdsource metadata about music. And if they do that, and maybe there's some sort of checker to see if 10 people say the song is by this one artist, then it becomes like, okay, that's most likely the correct answer. This is the artist on this track. And people would get rewarded with tokens. Again, I was excited about crypto at the time. So you'd get rewarded with tokens, and then you use those tokens to stream tracks on the music platform. So basically you can pay for your music subscription by answering metadata about the music. And I was wondering if there's, I've always had this idea in the back of my mind. I wonder if we could crowdsource categorizing listings. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I don't know. This is just an idea I always had.
No, I hear you. I think that'd be interesting. I think like for us, one of the challenges is also like getting featured properties. Like the featured properties are literally Joey and I like going through and liking properties. So we know some of them are pretty stale on the homepage. So coming through, we're gonna refresh those. But I hear you, Joey. I think that's interesting. And I think categories like Airbnb has categories. How do they do it? Maybe that might be something we look at. Like how does Airbnb pull like stylish properties and stuff like that? Any idea?
Yeah, maybe because it's user submitted, maybe the user can fill out categories at the time that they upload it, whereas we're scraping, so can't really do that.
All right. Speaking of crawling/scraping here, we know there's a lot of improvement needed on condos. I feel like this is probably like our number one kind of like feedback, right? We don't pull every single condo at this point. We initially made this condo section for an investment perspective. We were really looking at like, hey, are condos good investments with high yield? So we made like a gross yield feature. Joey, what are your thoughts on pulling in more condos, vacant condos?
Yeah, to just expand on the context there, if you look at any condo on AkiyaMart, you will see this little gross yield section. So every single condo listing has that. Even if there's no data there, you'll still see that gross yield label. And that's because, as Take said, we tried to kind of build something that's similar to a website called Rakumachi. If anyone else is interested in investment properties in Japan, check out Rakumachi. It's kind of the main website people go to in Japan. We thought, okay, a lot of people are interested in investment condos. Let's get investment condos on the platform. This is way back, this might have been February 2024. And so that's what we did. So I found basically At Home's version of Rakumachi, and that's where we're getting the data from, mostly because we were already looking at Home and getting data from there. But there's some issues with this, as Take mentioned. The first one is that it's not all the condos. There's more condos that in Japan and all these places that we don't have because we're not scraping that data. We are scraping a subset, which is the investment condo aspect of it. So one, we have an incomplete data set there. Two, a lot of these condos, it does seem like the bulk of our customers are looking at condos as a vacation property and not as an investment. And a lot of these condos have tenants because they're part of this investment property section of the websites we're sourcing data from. So a lot of them are tenanted, and the idea would be you buy this condo with an existing tenant and now you collect the rent instead of the old landlord. And the third, so for that's second issue. Third issue is that there's a lot of fees associated with condos that we don't do a good job of surfacing on our website. Yep. I was just on a consultation last night where the fees were crazy. It was actually about $1,000 a month in condo fees for this one property that this person had found. And I think that's a rare exception, but there are fees associated with it and with condos, and we don't do a good job of surfacing those costs.
All right, next investment. I think we got to try to buy a condo just to learn about the process. Maybe something in Asahikawa next to Kendall. But yeah,
I like that idea.
Anyone that's looking at condos, just know there's additional fees that we're not pulling yet. And Joey, I think we got to, I don't know. I know there's so many things on the Trello board, but this is probably one that's maybe leading people down the wrong path. And I feel like it's a constant correction we have to make with folks. But yeah, I think pulling those fees, pulling in more condos, and then adding eventually land, I think is an interesting play. I know us Americans love buying land. So there's a lot of land opportunities in Japan. So maybe that's something coming around the horizon. But again, we got enough on our plates here, right?
Yep. Land is a little bit in like other news. We're trying to figure out a way to put people in touch with contractors in Japan, and struggling there a little bit. So if people are purchasing land, it's still, we're back to that same issue of like, how do they put a house there? How do they get power and a well dug kind of thing? So also some issues with selling people land, but yeah, one step at a time. I am excited about land. I think land's cool.
Yep.
Sorry, just to cut you off one more time, because I keep looking at Yakushima. Again, I've never been to Yakushima, but I think it seems pretty cool.
Best.
Yakushima, you can't buy anything there unless you have $250,000 US, but land there does seem quite affordable. So
all right, let's look this up right now. Yakushima land. So Yakushima, for anyone listening, I'd say it's my favorite place in Japan. It is where they filmed Princess Mononoke, or not filmed, sorry. They based Princess Mononoke off it, like the forest vibes. Pretty magical.
So you can't go. So At Home, Sumo, those other websites, they don't have a lot. You have to actually Google Yakushima Fudosan. Let me I'll pull up the website.
So Yakushima, I was there for 2 weeks and it's crazy. I was like biking around and see like flying fish jumping out of the water. I stayed at there was an onsen that touched the sea. So I was like, you get waves splashing on you, but still be in hot water. Like next to me, I'd have all these like turtles breaching out, being born out of the sand. I was like, wow, it was crazy. So magical spot.
Okay, I'm looking at land right now. I just sent you the link, Take. Maybe we put it in the show notes or something. But yeah, Nihyakuman, so 2 million yen for a piece of land here.
Oh, man. Okay. Yakushima is also really famous for the trees. They have this one tree, it's a Jomon Sugi, I think. Jomon Sugi, which is, oldest, largest specimen of Cryptomera japonica tree. But it's like this massive, massive tree. And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So
look at this. There's only one picture, Take. Look at this listing and look at where it is on the map. This is like coastline lot. It looks like, or at least there's just a bunch of jungle there or something. For what would this be, like $12,000?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like I haven't been. So getting to Yakushima is hard. You have to take a boat from Kagoshima. It's a journey, but what would we do with this lot? Just like, oh, okay, this is right by the ferry area.
Pretty close
Oh,
to the
okay.
ferry.
Yeah, pretty close to the ferry.
I think tiny home, mobile home, prefab.
Maybe we hit up our buddy Modi who's doing prefab stuff. All right, we don't have money for this. This is just the straight up. If anyone listening just wants to buy a plot of land, we'll help you buy in Yakushima with the giving us access to it would be, or maybe we partner with someone on it. It probably won't make money, but it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a magical place in the world, in my opinion. Dang. Okay. Well, keep dreaming, Joey. Maybe if we raise some money or sell this company or I don't know, win the lottery, we'll be able to buy something in Yakushima one day.
Someday. I do want to go visit. I'm talking about buying property there. I've never even been there.
You've never been, but
seems magical.
You did buy in Beppu, so and I don't think you've never been there. So I think hopefully you got to trust me on this one. Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Yakushima. I believe if you go there, you'll be like, wow, this is like it's not Hawaii. It's more of in between Santa Cruz forest vibes and Hawaii vibes, I would say.
Okay. So, magical.
Yep. Alrighty. So any other features top of mind? That's a lot. I know there's a lot of smaller things like filters for bedrooms, things like that. Anyone listening, keep on sending them through. We are listening, but just know that as you may have heard through this podcast, we have a lot. Joey specifically has got a lot on his plate. Thank you, Joey, for handling the tech on this.
Aye. Yeah.
Cool. Well, very last thing, update on our $3,500 house. We have signed the contract. That was honestly a painful-ish conversation, Joey, right?
The explanation of important matters.
Yeah. So before you, quote unquote, make a contract here for agreeing on entering in the purchasing process, you have to sit through like our explanation of important matters where the real estate agent goes over like a lot of small things wrong. I feel like this could be done honestly via email, but it was a tough communicating. We did this in Japanese for the most part.
I thought, I was actually surprised. I feel like I mostly understood everything, so I was happy with my Japanese ability there. There's a few times where I didn't understand what he was saying, but I didn't do too bad. I thought, understood like 70-80%. So
there you go. Any top concerns about the house now? Again, we haven't any concerns about the house.
They don't know where the property lines are, as I remember. True. The land is like on a slope.
Yep.
So the house was built on top of a slope. Other than that, they didn't have any concerns about the cement balcony at all. I think that's good.
Looking for a muralist. If you're an artist that wants to maybe live in our Kitakyushu spot when we get it, after it's renovated, and paint a nice mural in the front, hit us up. I think that'd be a cool project. I don't know, Joe, if this could. I think it could be really cool actually if we did some kind of marketing campaign where we make Akiya's, we revitalize Akiya's. I think there's something there. I don't know if we could pull it off, but any artists that are painters, give us a holler.
All right, a big concrete wall for you.
Yep. All right. Well, good episode, Joey. A lot to chew on here, and we'll see you guys next week.